we no longer feel safe in our own home.
You have to have an effect on somebody's safety, security, or privacy. You mix the showing up at his house with the doxing, that's harassment. That is absolute harassment. And you can see by his reaction, it has had an effect on his safety, security, or privacy. I also like to thank YouTube for holding me accountable. Thank you for demonetizing me. Give me a break.
Bruce Rivers, he's the criminal lawyer. Who is he? Bruce Rivers, he's the criminal lawyer. And who is he? Bruce Rivers, he's the criminal lawyer. And what he do? And it's gonna react to all the self-snitching.
Hi, this is Bruce Rivers. Welcome to another fun-filled episode of Criminally Reacts. I'm Bruce Rivers, your very own personal board-certified criminal defense lawyer, along with our content genius who has gifted me these pearl-handle pistol cufflinks that give me the courage to bring the content to you that you guys desire. Today we're reacting to a lot of issues surrounding SSSniperWolf. It's related to doxing, related to her marriage and fraud she was engaged in, and a whole bunch of other crap regarding marriage and how division of property and some of the issues that are involved. But before we get to that, this is brought to you by eSign.com. eSign.com is a very effective way to remotely do business. Let's say you have a little YouTube site called Films of Steve's Films, and you decide that, somebody is showing up at your house uninvited, and you're kind of freaked out by it. Well, what do? You get a restraining order, but you don't want to go outside your house, so you have your lawyer drafted up, you e-sign it, because what did your lawyer do? Your lawyer already downloaded the app, and he gets 3 free signatures a month, so he sends you a restraining order, and you e-sign it. You don't have to go outside your house, you just barricade yourself with the curtains closed, and all of a sudden you get protected. Now, I use it all the time when I need to have somebody sign a retainer agreement or any kind of other document, medical releases, anything. eSign is an excellent way to remotely do business. I have to confess a little bit of ignorance here because don't get some of these channels, this chick is huge, just huge. And I guess all she does is react to TikToks and she tries to copy them, and I've watched a few of hers, and I can't watch it for more than... And I love TikTok. I'm a TikTok fanatic, but I can't watch somebody reacting to TikTok.
I told him I needed him to hold my hand so I could fart. Whoa!
So what she does is she doesn't really add a lot to the content, but she's got a fucking shit ton of followers, right? They're huge. But I'm not jealous of what she does because she doesn't add anything to it. Well, we try to, we do the same thing in a sense. We react to videos, but mostly criminal cases, but we try to inform you guys about something. If there's different concept in criminal law or just legal content in general. The reason why I'm even bringing this up is because there's a guy by the name of Jack Douglas, aka Jacksfilms. He criticized her, and he made the unenviable mistake of criticizing her. And so what does she do? She decides she's going to show up at his house. Why the hell would you do that? I mean, who gives a shit if somebody's criticizing you? We'll get into her marriage in a second here. She's mildly entertaining. So Jack had a legitimate complaint about her in that she doesn't give any props to any of the people that she's reacting to. And the world's a big place, right? The world's big enough for everybody. But he criticized her, and then she doxed him. She's got millions of followers. And that's an issue. And let's talk about that for a second. What's the issue with somebody doxing? And that's a term that I didn't grow up with YouTube. In fact, when I grew up, they didn't have YouTube. Now I'm sounding old, right? Doxing is where you post somebody's address and their personal information online. There's only one reason to do that. And what is that? That's to harass the fuck out of them, right? If anything were to happen, doxing is not per se illegal. It's probably against the policies. And my understanding that YouTube has demonetized her or limited her or suspended her. Doxing it by itself is not illegal, but it can be. So if she were to dox me, for example, and one of her followers came to my house and did something, she could be vicariously liable. You have to really be careful because, first of all, I would never do that to somebody. I wouldn't, if somebody's got a beef with me, go fuck yourself. I don't really care. Unless I actually wronged somebody. Then I would care because I like to help people. I don't like to hurt people. But this doxing thing that she's done is dangerous, especially in today's day and age. You never know who's out there. And with millions of followers, I guarantee you there are some crazy people within that group. There just are. So apparently what she did is she went to his house and she recorded it and recorded his address and posted that on her Instagram, where she's got almost 5 million followers. That's dangerous. That's reckless. By doing that, guess what? YouTube said, well, I think that's kind of bullshit. You live and die by the sword. When you have your whole world wrapped up in online and all of a sudden they say, guess what? You're suspended. That's a problem for you. But let's say one of her fans on her direction went to his house and either destroyed his house or, God forbid, let's say they committed an act of violence. She could be vicariously liable. Let's say they killed an individual based upon her post. I could see her being charged with manslaughter. It's reasonably foreseeable that somebody out there might do something. And it's a reckless disregard. You're culpably negligent when you don't give a shit and you just proceed forward. And let's talk about where she began. Pretending she was playing video games, really, and it was her husband who was, with a disproportionately hot wife, I guess was the best way to put it. And she's playing video games, or pretending to, and he's really the one doing it. So it starts out as a fraud to begin with. What does she do? I don't need him anymore. So she ditches him, and now he's suing her. And apparently he was writing some of her content. I don't know if that's true or not. So let's just kind of hear Jack's films. Let's hear his side of the story real quick.
SSniperWolf, a massive YouTuber, showed up outside of our home, recorded a video of our home, and then posted it to her 5.6 million Instagram followers, goading me with the line, "Let's talk like adults."
Okay, SSniperWolf, show up at my fucking house and let's see what happens. I mean, you're not going to do that because you're not that stupid.
In my 17 years on YouTube, I've never once had someone come to my home. She turned from a mere content thief to someone who doxes and stalks her critics.
And why would you do that? There's only one reason to do that, and that's to intimidate. Because if you can't take the heat, then get out of the fucking kitchen.
But mainly, we feel violated. We no longer feel safe in our own home. Because we're dealing with someone who genuinely thinks they're in the right for A, stalking me, and B, posting our home to her massive audience.
Just showing up at somebody's house is not necessarily stalking. You have to have an effect on somebody's safety, security, or privacy. You mix the showing up at his house with the doxing. That's harassment. That is absolute harassment. And you can see by his reaction, it has had an effect on his safety, security, or privacy.
If she truly wanted to talk with me, she could have done so through many other means that I've been harassing her. No, SSniperWolf, I've not been harassing you at all. In my videos on Jacksfilms, I've been critiquing her non-transformative commentary. I point out cases of content theft and freebooting.
So freebooting is where you just take somebody else's content and you really don't add anything to it, and you don't give them the credit. And so all he's really doing is criticizing. And we shouldn't be in a society where you don't have the right to criticize somebody.
I've been critical of her content, but that does not equate to harassment. What is harassment is coming to our home, sharing it for millions to see, and taunting me to come out.
That sounds like a crazy ex-girlfriend, doesn't it? I mean, why the fuck would you do that? And why would you care what Jack's film says? I mean, just do your shit and leave it alone. But doing this really creates a dangerous situation.
SSniperWolf is already making light of the situation, as if stalking someone is a quirky thing to do. No one should feel unsafe in their own home. Anyone who weaponizes their fan base like she did does not deserve a space here.
You know, that's a really good point, because we're getting to the point where we've got a decent fan base. Over 1 million subs. We get contacted by people every day saying they love our content. And guess what we do? We just try to inform and entertain and educate people. When you have somebody like SSniperWolf, who is literally going to this guy's home, for what? You can get to a point where your life is just lived through YouTube. And that's how some of these YouTubers are. If it's not on YouTube, it didn't happen. So everything they do, everywhere they go, everything they do is all about YouTube. And so now she's getting sued by her ex-husband, who really should have scratched his head when she said yes, honestly. You need to be a decent person. You need to have so many other attributes other than your looks. Gentlemen. And I'm talking to you gentlemen out there who might have somebody who's disproportionately hot girlfriend. Take a look at yourself. Take a look at her. What's the bottom line? And I'm not saying that all good-looking women are evil by any means. But there are manipulators out there, and you got to make sure you stay away from them. After she did this is what she said. Let me start by saying I'm sorry for my recent actions. It is inexcusable, that's true. I'm sorry to Jacksfilms, YouTube, the entire creator community, and my incredible fans for not being a better example for appropriate conflict resolution. Jacksfilm, while we certainly do not see eye to eye and have our differences, I am sorry for reacting the way I did when I should have taken the opportunity to show young creators how adults and professionals resolve conflict by communicating directly. Sounds like a lawyer wrote this. Respectfully and privately, not for views or content, but a meaningful example of how the conflict should be resolved. Yeah, give me a break. I will reach out directly and hope we can find some time to connect and communicate respectfully. I also like to thank YouTube for holding me accountable. Thank you for demonetizing me. Fucking give me a break. I deserve it. Respect the decision and appreciate the opportunity to learn and grow from a true lapse in judgment. What do we call that? It is a letter of apology, but what else do we call that? We call that self-snitching, don't we? I was wrong. I deserve it. And I deserve to be demonetized. How long is she going to keep saying that? I don't know. And if you look at the likes versus comments, she's got like 17,000 comments, 8,000 likes. So people are not really probably thinking that the apology is genuine. Because I'm sure it's not. Why? But it's so juvenile. It's such a juvenile ex-girlfriend kind of response to this, to show up at his house. Like I said, I don't know that she wrote it. Perhaps it was AI that wrote it. Who knows? I don't really care, honestly. But I feel bad for Jacksfilms because he seems genuinely shaken and rattled by it. And now she's got to wrestle with her ex-husband because he sued her to get half the... She took off with the revenue, although there's no revenue to get now because she's demonetized. And just so you know, anything that they acquired during the marriage is 50-50. If they acquired that channel during the marriage, even if she's responsible for it, it's 50-50 unless they have a prenup. And I think everybody knows that, marital property is anything that was acquired during the marriage. So, for example, if you buy a house during the marriage and it increases in value, that increase in the value and the price of that house, that all becomes marital. So when you leave, 50-50, see you later. Unless, you bought it with a bunch of premarital money. Those are kind of... I have tried 3 divorces in my career. I fucking hate family law. I hate it. People who do family law have a certain personality and patience that I don't have for people who whine about their personal problems with their spouse, because it's just whining, and it always comes out about the same. I've seen people spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on divorces, and guess what? It all comes out about the same. The only thing that changes is maybe who gets the kids. And I don't think they have any kids, thank God. Who'd want... Anyway. So, my advice to Sniper Wolf is just do your shit. And if somebody criticizes you, who gives a shit? Not everybody's listening, But doing what you did is a quicker way to get canceled. And then posting his shit online? Come on. As per your apology that was written by AI, just kidding, I don't know if it was or not, you definitely deserve what you get. Because, it's just wasn't right. This has just been our response to this doxing thing is, you've seen Trump do this. I mean, very early on, he gave out Lindsey Graham's fucking cell phone number. He had to change his cell phone number. He's given out other people's addresses. He gave out the address for a court clerk and got himself a gag order. These things do have consequences. The laws, I don't think, really have caught up to the technology. But there are anti-cyberbullying laws out there. So just make sure that, if you are out there, treat everybody kindly, with respect, love each other, do kind things for each other, make somebody smile. So we'll see you next time here at Criminal Lawyer Reacts. I'm Bruce Rivers, along with our content genius, Michael Rivers. Make sure you subscribe, follow us on Instagram, follow us on Twitter, and sign up for Patreon. And we'll see you next time here on Criminal Lawyer Reacts.
Do you notice that you just did a VN?
What?
Touch your ear.
No, I didn't. Why do you keep saying that?
Bruce Rivers just broke down your case. He know all the charges that you about to face. You ain't coming home till 2058. That self-snitching gon' get you put away. Bruce Rivers just broke down your case. He know all the charges that you about to face. You ain't coming home till 2058. That self-snitching gon' get you put away.
23-hour lockdown, police is at my god.